Hi and good day, sir. My name is Lim with matrix number 271383. So my topic for today is foreign direct investment, which is known as FDI inflow in Malaysia from the year of 1970 to 2020. So I will start my presentation with the introduction. FDI is actually an action of investment where the foreign investor invests in another country. The investment can be done by buying the foreigner's company shares. This will increase the invested country's financial position and the investments of the technology brought in by the investor. Malaysia has been one of the most successful Southeast Asian country in attracting FDI. Since 1957, Malaysia has benefited from both tangible and intangible assets. There are actually three main reasons attracting foreigners to invest in Malaysia. So the first one is profitability of the project. Subsidiaries operations can be integrated into investor global strategy. And the last one is the quality of environment to the local government and market. 2.0 shows the trend of FDI in Malaysia. So this indicator reached a maximum of RM 60.48 billion in the year of 2011 and a minimum of RM 0.38 billion in the year of 1970. So according to MIDA, FDI inflow in the manufacturing, services and primary sector surged to a new level in the year of 2011. And in the next year, FDI inflow dropped about 42%, which is probability due to the headwind on the external sides, while 2020 recorded a decreasing investment inflow due to the pandemic uncertainty. 3.0 shows the highest contribution sector of FDI inflow in Malaysia in the year of 2020. The FDI position was around RM 698.8 billion, whereby the services sector was the largest contributor in the financial and wholesale as well as retail trade activities. And Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan remain the largest investor country for FDI position. So 4.0 show the relationship between FDI inflow and the macroeconomic determinant of FDI. So the first one is the relationship between GDP per capita and FDI inflow. There is actually a significant positive relationship between FDI and GDP per capita, as shown is figure 4.1. So a growing GDP per capita of a country will attract more foreign investors to invest in Malaysia, which will rise Malaysia profit and FDI inflow. And then the second one is the trade openness. There are few researchers claims that trade openness increase FDI in the short run, as shown is figure 4.2. So trade openness actually promote FDI by increasing domestic resources, increasing output, which increase the FDI inflow in Malaysia. So the third one is the exchange rate. There's a positive relationship between exchange rate and FDI inflow, as shown in figure 4.3. With the same amount of foreign capital, the investor can purchase more stock in the invested country compared to their country when exchange rate of the host country increase. Thus, they will prefer to import rather than export to Malaysia. So this will increase the FDI inflow in Malaysia. So the last one is about the lending interest rate. And the lending interest rate have negatively affected the FDI inflow as shown in figure 4.4. And then higher interest rate usually increase the value of particular country's currency. The availability of high interest rate tend to draw international investment and rise domestic currency demand. So here is the FDI policy in Malaysia. So the new economic policy is actually a long-term social economic program, which the domestic market-oriented business project must be majority owned by the domestic investor. However, the export-oriented business are possibility 100% owned by the foreign investor. So the government of Malaysia at the year of 1986 changed the direction of FDI policy. So the foreign investor is allowed to own 100% of the project investment if the project is export-oriented, which need to export 50% or more product. So there is some act in Malaysia is applied to the investor who invests in Malaysia, which is the Malaysia Income Tax Act of 1967, Malaysia Industry Coordination Act of 1975, and the Malaysian Promotion of Investment Act of 1986. So in 2003, Malaysia government launched a program to increase the status of economic situation, which the government extended the number of years of the tax exemption from 10 to 15 years for pioneer companies. Furthermore, the policy of guideline on foreign participation in distribution trade services Malaysia was issued on October of 2004. So under this policy, all the businesses with involvement by more than 50% of the foreign investor need to allow investors from Bumiputra to have 30% of the share, and all levels of management need to be fulfilled by Bumiputra. So in March 2012, Malaysian government introduced Malaysian list of promoted activity and product which eligible for consideration of pioneer status and investment tax allowance. 6.0 shows the advantage and disadvantage of FDI. So the first advantage is FDI stimulates economic development. It often results in the opening of factories in the country of investment in which some local equipment like material or labor force is utilized. And next, FDI increase employment opportunity. An increase in FDI actually boosts a country's service and manufacturing sector, which in turn lead to a creation of job. And then FDI also develop the human resource. As human resources increase, they can train others and have a positive impact on the economy. However, the first disadvantage is that FDI is actually stops domestic investment from happening. Although money comes back into local community with FDI, a local investment value is almost another $1 for every dollar spent. That means that $10,000 of domestic investment could be worth 20,000 USD or more in the future. Then FDI can affect currency exchange rate. Investment are seen as a sign of stability by both individual and businesses, which increase interest in the sector. So the greater rate of interest may result in a superior monetary worth for the foreign country, which could cause the exchange rate to become unstable. So here is the suggestion to improve FDI inflow in Malaysia. So the first one is Malaysia should entice international business by starting to adopt a proactive stance to stop the economic downturn and use the current states of emergency to introduce practical economic stimulation measure and economic recovery package. And the second is advantageous tax rate and allowance must be competitive, and the duration of the preferential tax rates must be increased by at least another 3 to 5 years. And Malaysia should provide long-term benefit to differentiate the nation from others. So last one is government must also run a well-organized educational campaign to teach the public about the benefit of investing in Malaysia. So in conclusion, this assignment actually provide insight into decision making for investor and also decision makers, including the federal government and the central bank. So to interact with foreign investor and firms who supplement FDI inflow to the country, the government should implement the internationalized program in the financial market. Furthermore, the government should implement the strategy clearly toward the FDI attractiveness in the local market, for example, raising the FDI inflow by foster the import and export behavior. So that's all from me. Thank you.